This is Shelley Kraft coming to you live on SNN Live. We're at the 40th Annual New Orleans Investment Conference 2014. I'm here with Eric Coffin, hard rock analyst, and a major speaker, featured speaker at this conference. Eric, welcome to SNN Live.
Thanks for having me, Shelley.
It's good to have you. Let's get right into it. What are you speaking about at the conference?
Well, a lot of guys covered macro topics. I spent a little bit of time on that, but I decided I thought people would want to hear about some of the companies here, specifically the ones that I follow. So I focused on 2 or 3 development level companies. Those are companies that have a resource and are basically working on figuring out the economics, and 3 early stage discovery stories. Those are the sort of the higher risk, swing for the fence type things.
You know, in the area of resources, it's been down so low it looks up.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that you have a reasonably easy selection process in this market rather than a more difficult selection process, because not all companies are worthwhile investing in.
Oh, yeah, definitely the wheat is definitely being separated from the chaff these days. Really, a big part of the selection process right now is, I look at projects obviously, but you've got to find management groups that are capable of advancing a company in a really crappy market, which is hard to do. It generally takes somebody that's got the experience on the financial side, strong technical guys, and they basically have to have the connections to be able to raise money when there's not much around. And that's a pretty small subset of the sector right now.
And how important is having experience?
It's really important. I mean, when the market's like this, going out there and trying to raise money is difficult at best, but really you can see when a guy that's had 2 or 3 big successes puts a new deal together, even in a market like this, it's a lot easier. I mean, basically he's got a trap line already. He can get the first couple of rounds of financing done probably off of his own iPhone, as opposed to some guy that's never done this before in a market like this. They're going to be running around for months trying to get anything done, really.
Now, what's your background?
I was born in a mining town. My dad was a mining executive. When I went through university, I did the stock side, if you will. I've got a BCom in corporate and investment finance. My late brother David, that used to be the other editor of the newsletter, he went to Hailbury School of Mines. So he did the rocks, I did the stocks. Since he's passed away, I kind of do both. Although I've been around this business for 30 years, so I know scores, literally, of geologists. And if there's something where I think I need a little bit more technical depth, I just basically call up one of my friends and get them to look at stuff for me. But I know enough to be dangerous.
So let's talk about the newsletter,
Yeah.
Hard Rocks. Tell me more about it. And investors, I have to tell you, they're crying out for information. U.S., North America, Canada, all over the world. So, I want to give the website out in a minute, but what do you expect when you find and read this newsletter?
Essentially, there's 2 levels of newsletter. I mean, the basic level, if you will, the main level is called the Hard Rock Analyst Journal. Those go out about 22 times a year. Every issue is going to have 4 or 5 pages of macro stuff in them, be it on metals or on economics, market in general. Every issue is going to have updates on, it's news driven obviously, but there'll be updates on 5, 10, 15 companies depending on who's got stuff out. I mean, this is what they put out, this is what I think it means, good, bad, or indifferent, keep it, buy more, get rid of it. And then, several times a year, and how many companies get added really depends on how good the market is, but there'll be what I call extended reviews, and those will usually be 6, 7, 8 pages where I'll go through the corporate side, the finances, the projects that I think are the most important ones, the value drivers, basically what's coming, what are these guys going to do next on the exploration side, and what's the news flow and the value drivers in the future. The other level is basically an alert service. There's a bunch of companies on that I don't follow at the journal level, but mainly the alert service is about basically getting the word out to investors quickly when something groundbreaking or important happens with a company. Generally, the companies get added at the alert level because as often as not, I'll add a company because somebody will put out some drill results or trench results or something that I just kind of go, okay, these guys are really onto something. So that's normally where companies show up first. And if there's important news, I try to get something out to my readers, hopefully within a couple of hours.
Your take, on 2015?
Probably not going to be worse. I thought we saw a bottom early this year, and it looked that way all the way into September. The wheels kind of came off in September, partially because of gold price coming off, but what actually hurt the juniors a lot was the oil price coming off at the same time. Basically, everything got knocked back against the dollar. It looks to me like we've seen a triple bottom in gold. I'm not expecting anything spectacular, but I don't think we need spectacular. We just need a bit of stability so that guys that are actually out there, and there are a few companies out there drilling really good projects, where there's enough of a market that they can get rewarded for good results. And that's really the name of the game here. I mean, it's a high-risk business, so only a small number of companies are going to make important discoveries. But if you're lucky enough to latch onto one of those early, the returns are quite large.
For more information and the newsletter, Hard Rock Analyst, what is your website?
It's HRA Advisory, HRAADVISORY.com. And if you look on the home page on the right side, you'll see a thing there. There's always going to be something, some sort of report that I've done recently. You just basically put in your email and your name. It's an autoresponder. You'll get a copy of that report, PDF. And the reason why I suggest you do that is whatever my best offer is going to be linked within that document. It's not actually going to be on the subscription page. It'll be a better deal.
Eric Coffin, Hard Rock Analyst, speaker at the New Orleans Investment Conference. His room was full. I'm Shelley Kraft. This is SNN Live. We're at the 40th Annual New Orleans Investment Conference 2014. Eric, I want to thank you for coming on to SNN Live.
Thank you very much. Come for the crayfish.
Good to have you.